Hello, welcome to the first episode of the Frostbites podcast. My name is Minna, and you can find me on Ravelry and on Instagram as Finfrost. I'm coming to you from Finland, from northern Finland, and today I am filming in the countryside. This is the place where my father grew up as a child, and it's now my parents' holiday house. In the background over there you can see the old sauna building, which is no more in use because there's a new sauna in the main building. But I thought that this might be quite a cute location to film this first episode. Something about myself. I learned to knit when I was 4 years old. My father taught me how to knit. I don't exactly remember him ever knitting, but I'm sure his mother probably taught him how to, and he has maintained that skill even though he hasn't been really knitting. At least I don't remember seeing him do that. I really learned to knit at a very early age. I remember that the first item that I knit was a pink scarf with white stripes on both ends. And later on I started knitting clothes for my dolls, and a bit later I also learned how to use the sewing machine and started making clothes for my dolls and Barbies and also for myself. And at some stage in my teenage years, most of my wardrobe was handmade. I've been knitting on and off ever since I learned, but I really got addicted to knitting about 10 years ago. Making things by hand has, I suppose, been running in our family always. And before I started filming this podcast, I decided that I wanted to learn about how things were made by hand in my family, by my grandparents and great-grandparents. And I found out that my great-grandmother, who actually used to live in this, or she had her house at the back of this yard, she used to spin. She was growing sheep, and she got the wool from her own sheep and carded them and spinned the wool into yarn, and then she knit socks and hats and mittens and whatever was needed. And she also hand knit so much items that other people could buy them. There's still a spinning wheel in our holiday house here, but my granddad's sister, who lives next door, said that it's not my great-grandmother's spinning wheel, but it's probably my grandmother's spinning wheel. But she didn't apparently spin as much as my great-grandmother used to. But my grandmother was also a person who made things by her hands. She did a bit of sewing and probably a bit of knitting as well. but as she was quite busy with farming, I don't ever remember her sitting still so much so that she could be knitting or doing any other kinds of crafts, but I suppose she did when she had time. Okay, so that's my background in handicrafts and knitting. Let's move on with things that I've made. I would like to start with some finished objects that I've been doing over this summer. I've been quite busy. I've made 9 pairs of socks, I think, this summer. I've never been a very big sock knitter until this summer, and I took a few of them with me here. Some of them I've already given as gifts to my friends, but I've got a few pairs here which I can show you. The first pair is this lovely pair from hand-dyed yarn, which I ordered from Indonesia, puppy put yarn. It's this variegated yarn, fingering weight, and I always do my socks toe up, and this is like the basic sock recipe that I use. The sun is very bright at the moment, so I'm not sure if it shows the colors really well. But that's just a basic pair of socks. Here's another pair with some leftover yarn. It's too bright. The lighter color is pink with speckles. It's Garn Stories yarn from Germany, and the pink, purple parts are made of Easy Knits yarns, which I got from the UK last spring when I went to a knitting festival near London, Unravel Festival. Can't really see, it's too bright. I will put a picture of these socks somewhere in here. And then there's another pair, also from the Garn Stories. Beautiful hand-dyed, speckled pinkish, and there's a bit of light green in this colorway as well. And then one more pair. This is from Regia, self-striping yarn, and these are all just basic toe-up socks that I do. Then I have a little bit more special pair. This is the Lamus sock, which I designed this summer, and it's currently being test knit, and I'm hoping to publish the pattern in English sometime in October. I think it will be ready. It's got this lace panel in the front, and otherwise it's just basic stockinette stitch, also knit from the toe up. And in these socks I used some local yarn, hand dyed near where I'm from. It's Knitlops Lair Väinämöinen, really nice hand painted sock yarn. So these are some of the socks that I've been working on this summer. Then I've also made a few hats. This summer was all about small projects. This hat is made of hedgehog fibers, sock yarn, and some easy knits yarn, this variegated yarn. And the pattern is by Veera Välimäki, the Finnish knitwear designer, who is one of my favorite designers. And I just can't remember the pattern name at the moment, but I will put it on the screen. And then I joined the Hohi Fall 2016 knit along, and I decided to make a small project because I had a couple of bigger projects on the way. So I made this hat, which has a French name, which I'm not going to try to pronounce because I don't speak French at all. A really nice pattern, and this is also Knitlop's layer yarn. It's merino yarn, which is called Tuulen tytär. Really nice and soft fingering weight yarn. And also quite similar, just my own design, another hat with a folded edge, a folded brim, the same yarn. So these are some of the finished objects that I've been working on this summer. Another finished object which I might mention is the sweater I'm wearing at the moment. It's definitely my favorite knitting project and knitted item that I have ever made. It's called Luotolainen, which is the traditional fisherman's sweater from an island which is very near where I live. A beautiful island where I go to quite often, and the fishermen have been using this sweater for centuries on that island, and it's got several really nice and practical details that I might tell you about a bit later on some other episode. But this one is made out of Finship wool, unwashed 3-ply Finship wool. It's got a collar that you can button up and a nice detail here at the front, and decreases in the sleeves, and there's also a dart at the back, and otherwise it's 4x1 ribbing. But I will go into details about this sweater at some later episode. So let's move on to some projects that I'm working on at the moment. The first one is this beautiful garter stitch scarf by Hohi Locatelli. It's a bit hard to see now when it's on the circular needle, and of course I'm at the middle of the row at the moment, so you can't really see, but many of you know this design. It's the Pure Joy shawl by Hohi Locatelli, and I am making it in this variegated blue and tonal pink merino nylon blend, which I got from Austria this summer. Ferner Wolle is the brand of the yarn. I don't think I have the tag here with me, but it's really nice and soft, quite thin fingering yarn, and it knits up beautifully. I don't know if you can see anything in this bright sunlight. So I'm already at the final wedge, which is the contrasting color wedge of the shawl. So I'm hoping to finish it quite soon. And the next project that I'm working on is a sweater. Which is, oh, the sunlight is just so bright. Here you can probably see the colors a bit better. So it's got this coral pink color and speckled grey. Both yarns are hedgehog fiber sock yarn in fingering weight. Really nice yarn that I've been using quite a lot lately. The start of this sweater is Veera Välimäki pattern Breathing Space. I've already made one Breathing Space sweater with the asymmetrical stripes and hem, but this one doesn't have that asymmetrical striping going on. It's just straight. I might be giving it to someone else. We'll see how it goes, depending on the size it ends up being when it's finished. So those are my projects that I'm working on at the moment. I'm also going to start a group on Ravelry, Frostbites podcast, where you can join and chat. And yeah, so this was my first episode of the Frostbites podcast, and I'm hoping to film another episode maybe in 2 weeks or in a month. We'll see how it goes. And yeah, until next time, bye.